Hello, my name is Rachel and I am here today to film my July reading wrap up. So, I've not read tons in July, but it's been a really good reading month. I think I've read 5 books, and most of them are 4 stars, which is good. The first one, not so good, so I'm going to get that out of the way first. So, the first book I'm going to talk about is I've Got Your Number by Sophie Kinsella. This I gave 2.5 stars, and mm, I might have liked it better if I'd have actually read it, but I listened to it on audiobook, and the first problem was that I hated the person who read the audiobook. The person reading it sounded really similar to Kate Winslet reading Matilda, and it was just a very childish voice and reading of it, and I think it just made the whole thing seem really just naive and just weird. So I wasn't fond of that. I've just had a look, and the narrator was Claire Corbett. So yeah, not fond of her. I think she'd be really good for children's books or young adult with a female narrator. I think she would have been perfect. But for this, obviously, it was about a fully grown woman, so it was just a bit daft. So the story follows a woman who loses her engagement ring, and her phone gets stolen, and she finds another phone and she starts using it as her own phone. And then the guy the phone belonged to his PA, who quit, and so he needs the phone back, but she wants to keep the phone because she's given the number out to all the people for if they find her engagement ring. So basically, they end up meeting and getting to know each other that way. It's very predictable. It's very Sophie Kinsella. I would say that I've read a few of her books, and this didn't rank anywhere near the top. I read a lot of them when I was between 16 maybe, and I really loved The Undomestic Goddess and Can You Keep a Secret, and I just saw it and thought, oh, I'm going to read one again, but yeah, I wasn't as fond of it as I was the others. I did have some problems with the actual story. So one thing I found was that the narrator saw a beautiful woman, and she was like, oh, I want to stare at her all day, and I'm a girl, as if it's ridiculous for a girl to fancy another girl. It was the way she said it, which really bothered me. And then there's this woman in it, and she talks about her in such an insulting way. So the woman is angry with this guy because he's basically not broke up with her properly, and she doesn't know where she stands. So fair enough, she's quite angry, but the narrator always refers to her as if she's hormonal and a problem, and no wonder he's trying to avoid her because she's such a hormonal bitch. I don't know, it was kind of just insulting and annoying, and yeah, I wasn't fond of that. So I gave that 2.5 stars, because there were times when it was alright, maybe 2 stars, I don't know. But yeah, so I read that one, swiftly move on. And then the next book, so the next 3 are all 4 stars, so you can do them in any order. All of them I read on my Kindle. The first book was a reread of a book that I just adored when I was a teenager, and I put it on my Kindle before I came to Switzerland, and I'm so glad that I put it on there because I'm just so glad that I reread it. It was so nice to reread. And it is Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick. So this is a young adult book about a girl who basically meets this guy, and he's very mysterious and stuff. And yeah, it's a very predictable teen fiction sort of book, but I loved it, and even rereading it as older, I still just loved it. There's just so much nostalgia, and yeah, I like the way that the two love interests talk to each other. They're very witty and sarcastic and things like that. So yeah, that was still amazing. So really enjoyed rereading that, gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then the next book I read because I'd read Hush Hush, and I was like, oh, I want to read more like romancy young adult books. So I read Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon, which is coming out very, very soon as a movie, which looks really, really good. And this was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. So basically it follows this girl who basically has to live in a house because she's allergic to loads of things outside, but you don't really know what it is she's allergic to. So anything could set her off, so it's much safer for her to just stay inside. So basically, yeah, she's never really left her house, or she did when she was younger, but she hasn't for years and years and years. And then this guy moves in next door, and it's kind of about how they get to know each other and start to form a relationship. And yeah, it's just really nice. It's really sweet, and I really, really enjoyed it. Actually, I liked it a lot better than I'll Give You the Sun, which is the newer book by Nicola Yoon. And I read that and wasn't actually that fond. I think I only gave it like 2.5 stars. But Everything was a lot better. Really, really enjoyed it, and hopefully I will see the movie soon. So yeah, that one was really good. And then the last book that I gave 4 stars was also on the Kindle, and that was Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. This book I've never read before. I didn't read it when there was a big craze about it, but I did see the film, loved the film, have like watched it since, got on DVD, like I think it's a really, really good film. So I decided to pick the book up, and I cannot believe how well they did a film adaptation. Like, it is like word for word, page for page, narration for narration, like just the best adaptation ever. Like the whole thing. And I was reading it and I could see the characters as the characters from the film perfectly. Like I just think they cast it really well, they filmed it really well, they got the locations perfect. I just really, really, really loved reading it, knowing I'd seen the film and just like comparing the two. So it was really, really good. Loved the story. I did put it down for a bit, which I don't think I would have done if I'd have read it before I'd watched the film. I think I would have been like, read it. But I did put it down for like a couple of days in between, and I think that is why I can't really give it 5 stars. But I don't think I would have put it down if I hadn't seen the movie. So yeah, I don't know, might be 5 stars, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think it was fantastic, and I loved how unsure of the narrators you were. Like with the main guy, she's trying to cast so much doubt on him that his narration comes through as just really untrustworthy, which is really, really cool and really interesting. The plot basically follows this guy, his wife has gone missing, and it's basically about him searching for his wife. A lot of the news companies start to think that he did something wrong. He says he didn't, but obviously you've got this untrustworthy narrative where you're like, did he? I don't know. So yeah, that was really, really good. And then the last book that I've read this month is by far my favourite. It's one of my favourite books of the year, most definitely. And it is by my favourite author of all time. And it is On Writing by Stephen King. So I love Stephen King. I think he's one of the best writers of all time. I just think he's brilliant. I've read The Shining, Carrie, Misery, Green Mile, and Dolores Claiborne by Stephen King. I'm halfway through, I'm like 200 pages into Under the Dome, but I had to leave the book at home because it was humongous. So hopefully I'll finish reading that soon. But he is basically one of my favourite writers ever. I don't really like horror, not as in it scares me, but as in I think it's really hard to write well, and I think a lot of people don't write it very well. Because they're just trying to scare you. But I think the way that Stephen King is different is that he really creates these characters that you fall in love with and they're really real, and he makes sure that he does that before the horror, and then that's why you get so scared, because you're so connected to the characters. And so I just think he's the best. I really want to be a writer in the future. That's like my dream. So I thought, who better to get advice from than Stephen King? So my girlfriend got me this for my birthday, I think, maybe last year. And yeah, I finally got around to reading it. It was fantastic. There are so many just brilliant things. There's things in here that I didn't agree with, but then I thought, well, that's his writing journey, and that's not mine. So, for instance, he says that he wouldn't talk to anyone about things he was writing until he'd done a first draft. He wouldn't want anyone else contributing, getting in his head, that sort of thing. Whereas for me, I know that I've spoke to my girlfriend about something I'm writing at the moment, and it really helped me get things into perspective and help. And I spoke to one of my friends from home, and you know, I find it helpful to talk to people because I kind of get things ordered in my head. So yeah, we didn't agree on everything, but I just adored this. I think it's fantastic, and I really want to read more books about writing. So yeah, I think this was a perfect place to start. So this was 5 out of 5 stars. And yeah, that's all the books I've read this month. I'm halfway through some actually, because I started reading The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman, which I am 40% through, so I'll probably be finishing that. I'm also listening to Orange is the New Black on audiobook. I'm about a quarter of the way into that, and then I've started Homo Deus yesterday, and I am 40 pages into this, and it is just amazing. Like, I can't believe how brilliant it is already. So yeah, hopefully they will be in my next wrap up, and I can tell you about them because they're really good so far. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!